to the government yesterday. They are ready for some fresh ideas in Washington, a message that cost incumbent Senator Arlen Specter the Democratic nomination. We bring in our political reporter, Bruce Gordon, and ask what's ahead for a Joe Sestak and Pat Toomey matchup.
Well, Thomas, the promise from both camps is that this will be all about the issues. There's no question Democrat Sestak is relatively liberal and that Republican Toomey is relatively conservative. Well, each side is already painting the other as an extremist.
Get to know your local Wall Street and Washington insider.
Pennsylvania's Democratic Party is already out with this web video blasting Toomey's background as a banker, and Sestak himself is making clear he will tie Toomey to the Bush administration.
As a congressman, he advanced those policies, and worst of all, not only advanced the policies of George Bush, he literally threw out the window pay-as-you-go, balancing the checkbook of the United States, and tripled our national debt. Well, I got to tell you, 50% of the national debt over the next 10 years is to pay for the interest that Pat Toomey took out on our national credit card just to, spend and not pay for it.
Now, the Toomey camp, no doubt sensing a Sestak victory in the primary, already had this web video out. It's a parody of those Aflac commercials featuring Joe Says Tax. Toomey told me this morning he will tie Sestak to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Joe has a very, very liberal point of view. He has a 100% voting record with Nancy Pelosi, for instance, and has supported all the bailouts, the stimulus spending, cap and trade, card check, government-run health care, all of those things. And along the way, his occasional criticisms of those bills have usually been that they don't go far enough.
Both Toomey and Sestak claim they respect each other greatly. Both suggest there will be multiple debates, a real chance for voters to see their differences. Thomas,
certainly will be. Bruce Gordon in the newsroom. We'll see. Bruce, thanks. So how will the election results impact President Obama moving forward? It was no secret he distanced himself from candidates toward the end. Could that hurt him in the future? Chris Friend from FriendlyFireZone.com joins me from the newsroom. Good to see you again.
Absolutely, Thomas. Good to be here.
Arlen Specter helped the president push through that stimulus, and the president said, "Love you, Arlen. I'll be there for you." Where was he?
Apparently everywhere but Pennsylvania. Look, the president cut a commercial for him. He made a call to the black clergy. But when push came to shove, Arlen Specter said, "Mr. President, I want you in Pennsylvania. I need you in Pennsylvania." And you know what? He wasn't there. He turned his back on Arlen Specter. He hung him out to dry. He flew over Pennsylvania in his plane yesterday, but didn't stop. And there'll be severe repercussions for the president on this.
Well, I'm sure he waved while he was going over the state, Chris. Do you think that's going to make it hard for the president to rally support from unpopular policies in the future?
I think it's going to make it very difficult. I think Barack Obama's agenda is, I'm not going to say it's dead, but it's going to be very difficult to pass the controversial issues on his agenda moving forward. Look, it's no secret. This is going to be the high watermark for Democrats in the United States Congress under Barack Obama, whether he's in for 8 years or not. So he wants cap and trade. He wants internet regulation. He wants a number of other issues out there. But what's the incentive right now for Democratic Congress and senators? Because quite frankly, Thomas is going to say, Mr. President, your words right now kind of ring hollow. I'm up for re-election this year, but you're not. So I think they're going to not walk, walk the line for the president.
But do you think they're going to say, President, no, thank you. I'm going to campaign alone here?
Look, clearly that will happen in certain instances. The president is popular in certain areas of the country. Other congressmen, other senators will say, Mr. President, I'd like you to kind of stay out of there. But the issue here is that Arlen Specter said to the president, I need you in here. I want you in here. It's crunch time. It's down to the wire. The president said, not just to Arlen Specter and to the party, but in front of the nation, I'll do whatever you want, Arlen, to get your reelection, to thank you for to come into our party. Remember, he was the decisive vote to get the stimulus package passed. And again, Barack Obama left him out to dry.
All right, well, let's look ahead here. The president called Sestak last night, said congratulations, way to go. Do you think he's going to get behind him now?
Absolutely, he's going to get behind him. Look, it's all about party unity right now. The first overture that the president made was to not come in and help Arlen Specter out. But again, short-term gain, it's going to be a long-term nightmare for the president. And that long-term is over the next 6 months when he needs to get his agenda passed.
Specter still has a few months in office here. Do you think he's going to change his votes? He's been a rubber stamp for the Democrats lately.
Clearly, Arlen Specter, for the first time in the last 30 years, he really is a free agent. There are no repercussions. He has nothing to lose, quite literally, because of what happened yesterday. I'm sure the senator doesn't hold Barack Obama completely responsible for the loss, but clearly, if he's upset with the president and the fact the president turned his back on him, you may see him very well vote the way he wants to vote, not the least of which could be to vote against Elena Kagan, the president's president's Supreme Court nominee. Remember, Specter voted against her once for Solicitor General. If he does it again, it could potentially lead the way to derail the nomination. Paybacks are tough, Thomas.
Revenge in politics, I tell you. Chris Fran, thanks so much for weighing in. Good to see you.